I'm going to give you the second question, and it came out of two great points. Stella's like, oh no, I'm next. That's right. No, but Lucille comes first. So, Lucille, what do you see as the shared equity goals that Gen Zers can work towards with millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers? You know, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities working across generations?
So I would say first, even those, the way that the titles that we describe, Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, I feel like have a tendency to divide us a bit in terms of how the world positions us and sees us versus how we see ourselves. So I think that one of the things that I've been really heartened and encouraged by is that I see women younger than me. And for me, in the job that I have at the Borough President's Office, I'm actually one of the oldest people in the office, which is kind of surprising. When I first started out professionally, I always was the youngest woman in the room by many years. And so one of the things that I've been really encouraged by is seeing sort of a younger generation really pushing for things that I think my mother's generation didn't feel quite comfortable pushing for. So for instance, I see a lot of my employees that are younger really pushing for better work balance, work-life balance. And so those kind of things, which I think in terms of coming to an organization and saying, this is what I value as an employee, I want you to value this as well, and how can we make sure that it's just not being applied just to me, but that this is being applied to everyone here in the office, I think really helps to push the conversation in terms of how do we want our work environments to look, and how do we want to be able to balance our lives with the important work that we're doing. I also see sort of the equity coming in, sort of as Sarah was saying, in terms of really being thankful and really thinking about the history, whose shoulders I stand on. And so, you know, I'm very grateful for the women that, you know, particularly in the political arena, really were pushing the envelope and coming before me, so that, you know, we are seeing just this incredible amount of women wanting to run for office and wanting to be in public life. I've been really encouraged by that, but that didn't just happen this year or in 2016. People like my boss, like Gail Brewer, were some of the first women to say, not only am I going to run in New York City, I'm going to raise a lot of money to do that, and I'm also going to help other women along. So for me, it really is acknowledging the fact that there were so many other women and people that came before me in order to push us to this point of progress of where we're at now. And so I'm encouraged by that, and I see sort of the equity sort of building and developing just through dialogues like this, but also just in the workplace, just in terms of the type of conversations that we're having, and as a supervisor, really having to sort of learn and navigate some of the language. I sort of see myself not as I am, I guess, classified as a millennial, but I'm sort of on the higher end of that. So it's learning how to sort of have this shared language of communication when it comes to talking with women that are younger than me. And, you know, when they say certain things, like if you ask them a question and they say, oh, no problem. And in my parents' generation, they're like, well, what does no problem mean? Like, I don't know what that means. You mean yes or no, right? And so it's sort of like, you know, how do I get comfortable learning a language or learning where you're coming from? Because women of my generation have been given, you know, we think of the world with a lot more resources, where I think of, you know, women in the past have had to struggle and work so incredibly hard with the resources that or the environment given to them. And so now we're in a place where women really just have everything at their fingertips. And so I think that that's really helped to push the conversation of greater equity.